Hello.
Hello there.
I'm Ginger.
I'm Dee.
And this is Chattin' with
CHAP.
CHAP.
Episode 99. How about that? Pretty exciting.
It is exciting.
What are we going to do next week, Ginger?
We're going to have a party.
We're going to party.
And 2 giveaways. I will show you. You know what? We didn't flip the screen, but I'm going to hold this up. It's the backwards view of a book called Refined by Zan Tyler. If you've ever heard Zan Tyler, she's wonderful. She's from South Carolina. And this is a book about, on the back it says, "Are you overwhelmed in your homeschool journey, burned out, or hopeless?"
Oh.
And she said she made it really nice and short so it's easy to read.
Yeah.
I said, unfortunately, it's not cartoons inside. But wonderful book that we're going to give away next week. And our very own
Christy Rucker. Yes, Simple Homeschool by Christy Rucker.
I have a copy.
I don't either.
It has a beautiful green fern on it.
Yeah.
It's all about
homeschooling in a more simple and fresh manner.
way.
Yeah, we all need that.
Yes.
So, how will we announce the winner?
Okay, so next week, well, it'll be next Thursday, our e-news goes out. And that's where we're going to put the winner this time. So we're not going to jump on Facebook like we do sometimes and give the winner. We're actually going to put it in the e-news. So if you're not subscribed, you might want to, so you can keep an eye on the winner and the other stuff that's going on. So that happens at chaponline.com/subscribe-to-e-news. And that's not super simple. But.
No. So contest next week. We'll run till Thursday at noon.
Just chat with chat next week.
Yeah. Till Thursday at noon. 23 hours.
Yes. Yes. Yeah. And all you'll have to do to enter is comment next week, not this week. Next week, comment on our Chattin' with Chat video, your favorite Chattin' with Chat, or please, new topic ideas.
Yes.
New things that you
We're
want to talk
definitely
about.
looking for that.
Yeah, that's all you got to do to enter.
Yeah. Well, today we were talking about fire safety. Ginger, how did you cover fire safety over the last several years?
Well, several. It has been several years.
I know.
So we've done all kinds of things. Honestly, when I'm having a really busy year and it just doesn't happen to take the field trip, I have a pamphlet that I got years ago. You can tell by looking at it. It's been in my folder for years, and I'll pull my pamphlet out faithfully before the end of the school year. It's usually one of our last weeks. You know what, guys? We should really read through this. So we read through a pamphlet, and we absolutely.
And that works.
It does,
okay.
because it's information.
Okay. Yeah.
Yes.
I know that when my kids were younger, I made sure that we had a trip to a fire station once a year, and we did it usually through co-op. If we didn't have a trip to the fire station, then our fair had a smokehouse several years, a smoke trailer. I also would have my children draw a picture of their room with the furniture in it and the windows and the door, and then they had to tell me 2 ways they would get out. If they, the door and then the window. Okay, well, if you're going out the window, what does that look like? And so the rooms that we put ladders, the rope ladders under their beds. So, but I always just made sure they had a map, and this is the way we get out, and this is where we would meet.
That's great, because
pretty
that's
much all I
like
did.
art class.
Yeah. I mean, you're just
Fire safety.
draw it, and this is what we would do.
Critical thinking.
Yeah.
That's good.
So when they were little, that's what we do, and as they got older, when things would just catch on fire, we would talk about
those live in-house occurrences.
Yeah. Why this is dangerous?
Obviously. We want to know from you, are there any special ways that you guys cover fire safety? Because maybe there'll be a fun, neat new idea that will spark someone's interest. But other things that, obviously, the internet is a wealth of information for all kinds of things. So if you go to Red Cross, the Red Cross has a fire safety page. Safety.com has a fire safety page. And YouTube has a million videos.
Awesome.
You can watch all kinds of
Very
stuff.
cool.
Yeah.
So there's also the National Night Out, which I don't know a lot about.
So at least in our area here in Elizabethtown, I think it's statewide.
I've heard of it. I think it is a
national. So I guess it's across the country.
Yeah.
So the police get together. I mean, the EMS are there, the fire people, everybody's there at the township building. And you can go around and meet and greet everybody. You can tour the trucks, and you get those little packets they hand out. What is that, Cappy the fire dog or something? with all their information, and that has all of basic fire information and stuff in it. You know, it's this whole community night. Of course, didn't happen this year, but that's a great place to get fire information.
We also talked about the smoke trailer, and that's something that our local fair had, the smoke trailer, and you could, you know, the fire department was there, and my kids would participate in that.
Did you ever go in it?
I was thinking.
I went in it. So like,
I think I sometimes.
Oh, okay. So
What
I
kind of
don't know
mother
if
am
this is around all of Pennsylvania or not, but we had it, and you crawl in this. It's like a trailer, like a regular big rig trailer, but it's set up kind of like almost like a carpeted apartment inside, and you go in and sit inside, and they talk to you about fire safety, and at the end they start to smoke you out. Like they fill the room with.
Yeah.
I don't think it's real smoke. It's some kind of something. Maybe it is smoke. I don't know. And then you're like, oh my word! And they're like, get low and climb out. So they have you climb out. So it's a really great live experience thing.
It is.
I think it goes around. I guess the smoke trailer.
I don't know. I haven't seen it in a while either. I used to be at the fair.
Yeah.
But we would too also do the field trip to the fire station, and you know we would just get a bunch of homeschool families together. If you know other homeschoolers, or if you're a part of a co-op, once a year do that. The fire departments are very gracious. They love to have groups.
They do.
And here's the cool thing about that. It makes it fun. So if you have little ones, the whole idea can be very scary, especially when they're in their get up. And so when you take them in a situation like that when they're younger, it helps them not to be afraid of that, and it helps them learn, and they get to get in the fire truck, which you know, they love, and they can see all of the equipment, and to understand that, you know, this person is here to help.
It's a safe person.
Yeah, it's a safe person.
They do that, and they talk specifically about that when you take your kids to the firehouse. They'll ask kids to try on the outfits so they can see how heavy they are, because they're really heavy. But they'll also be like, okay, this is what we look like when we come into your house. Don't be afraid of us. We're trying to help you. So I think that's really important. Yeah. So when you take a field trip to someplace, that won't necessarily happen at National Night Out, but definitely when you take a field trip to the firehouse, you get that type of interaction, which is really valuable.
Yeah. And so I think it's important to understand is fire safety isn't something you have to be teaching weekly. You don't need
a curriculum.
Yeah, you don't need a curriculum.
Don't buy a curriculum.
But every year, at some point in your year, make sure that you do things that cover it. And like I said, it's very important not just to take the trip to the fire department, but to have the plan to get out of your home.
Oh yeah,
that's huge.
For sure.
Like have the plan to get out of your house.
Yeah. So and actually read the handouts. That one handout that I have. If you're in a pinch, some year for some reason or whatever, you're in a pinch and you're like, oh my goodness, we really got to do this. Read the handouts or have them color the color pages, because there's actually sentences about it on the color pages. So if you read everything that they give you, it's all there. But something that I organized at our co-op for a few years was a first responder day. So if you're going to co-op this year, maybe you want to organize a first responder day, and that's when you have the fire department, the police, and the EMS come. And they all give a little talk. They talk about what they do. They talk about their equipment. They introduce them to, you know, what's this on you, officer, you know, Mayberry. And they talk about all their stuff. And then you go out into the parking lot and you get to tour the trucks. So that's really cool. Now, usually what happens to us is the fire department always gets called out on a call when we have them. But the police guys are there, and they usually have someone who's set aside to actually go do those things. So it's been really great. Yeah. Having them come over.
And remember, younger kids need repetition, so especially that escape plan out of your house. I mean, that isn't something you will just do once with a younger child and not visit that again. They need that
again.
Yeah.
So like you said, practice the evacuation at home. We do that. Do that too. And the kids each have 2 ways to get out of their rooms. And we have used the fire ladder. We have had the kids climb down the fire ladder, because if you're afraid of the fire ladder, you're not going to climb out of the room to escape. So you have to be, and it is a little bit, if you don't have an adventuresome person and they have to use the fire ladder, what can stop you dead in your tracks? Because it looks like this wimpy little thing. And it's good to use it, because what if the ropes are starting to rot, or because they sit there for years and years and you never use them. And then all of a sudden it's like we have to use it, and oh my goodness, it's going to break. Because now my big boy is a big boy, and he's bigger than my husband. So using that ladder.
Yeah, I've never thought about that. That's a good idea.
So it's always good to practice that. And then we have a meetup over at our neighbors. So we call the neighbor, hey neighbor, you know, we're practicing our fire thing, and and they're happy to be helpful with that.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's good.
So the point is to make sure your children know that fire is dangerous and what to do if something happens. You can talk about 911 and have 911 training also,
yeah.
when to call, why to call. That's important too. So
Yeah. So one thing I wanted to read to you, we do have an FAQ on the Homeschool Pennsylvania page that says, do I have to teach my elementary age children fire safety every year or just once during the elementary years? So this is what the law says. Let me read it to you. There's mandatory courses, safety education, including regular and continuous instruction in the dangers and prevention of fires. Now, we've talked to you about a lot of different topics over the past few months, and we've talked to you about interpretation of the law. So, CHAP's interpretation of this law, being that they say including regular and continuous instruction. CHAP's historical interpretation of this means that you should do it every year. I did read in a post recently of a good friend who posted this very same verbiage, but her statement was that you do not need to do it necessarily every year. It just says regular and continuous. So it doesn't specifically say yearly.
Right.
So again, it's an interpretation of a law thing. Now, safety-wise, like I said, young children,
Right.
it's good to do it a few times a
you
year.
should, yeah.
To get it in there.
Yeah,
And
I
the
mean,
911 thing.
You should go
Yeah.
over getting out of your house and meeting somewhere. I mean, that stuff is important.
Yeah.
I mean, so
Yeah. And
even if it doesn't mean yearly,
Yeah.
you probably should do it regularly
Yeah.
with your smaller children.
Yeah, and then the older kids, I mean, they know
Right.
where to go, they know what to do, they feel confident in it, and if they, if you ask them and they can answer like that or whatever, they understand,
Right.
Working with a stove and all that type of stuff. We have a wood stove, so it's a life fact for us all the time in the winter. There's fire there, we're constantly putting wood in, we're opening doors, we're bringing fire, it's just.
Right.
So it's something they're around. If your kids aren't around it, you might need a little bit extra training because
Right.
they're not familiar with it. So you really have to gauge it based on your scenario. So again, it's one of those places it doesn't say specifically in the law, you must do this every year. Of course, for your senior high kids, it might be like, cover it once in senior high and you're
Yeah.
good to go because then you can check it off your
Older
thing.
and- yeah.
So,
Yeah. So we just wanted to cover that with you. If you guys have any great ideas that you do, please drop them in the comments for others to see, because we all need to help each other
Yes,
and
we
encourage
do,
one another.
and it's good.
But just know it's important, but it's not a hard topic to cover.
No,
So
it'll be fun. It can be really fun.
make it fun. Yeah. So next week, contest week,
Yes.
celebrating episode 100. Yep.
Oh my goodness.
Sign up for the e-news, because that's how you'll find out who the
Yes.
winner is of
And-
our 2 books.
Yes, and then be ready next week with topics for us, because we want to talk about what you want to hear about, or your favorite Chattin with Chap episode. And if you have to go back and refresh yourself on those Chattin with Chap episodes, they are all on our
They
Facebook
sure are.
library. If you go to Chap's page under videos, they're all there. And we have some of them on YouTube, and my son is getting more and more out there in podcast land.
And it's working. I had someone inbox me saying
Really?
somebody told them
Chat with Chap was
the
out there.
podcast and she
Yay!
listened. So
That's great.
yeah,
So they're
awesome.
out there. They're out there, and we're learning.
Yeah.
We're learning,
Because sometimes it's more convenient to listen, and
It
we
is.
get that. So
it is. So we're getting it out there. So be ready for our party next week.
Yeah.
2 really great books
yeah, awesome.
in contest. And
Exciting.
see you then.
We'll see you. This has
Okay.
been
Chat
Chattin'
with
with
Chap.
Chap. Bye.
Bye.